Hello and welcome. I'm going to run through a quick tutorial on how to use Joomla's Helix framework and also the SP page builder. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about all of the functions and features within SP page builder, but I want to just show how that fits in with the Helix framework. Now, the Helix framework is it needs to be installed. On this particular website, the biggest challenge we have is that we're going to build the Helix framework behind the scenes and the SP pages because we don't want to take down the live site because there's a lot going on. So you'll see this site has this template and theme at the moment, and we want to change it to something very different. Now, to know that the Helix framework is installed, you need to go to Extensions, Templates, and here you'll see a template, Shaper Helix 3 or something like that. I've renamed this one, so we've got Bridge Helix default template. Now you can see here is the current default template, so this is what applies. Now if you see that this is the base, pretty much the basic install of the Helix template, if I change this to default, wait for that to apply, go back to the site, refresh the page, you can see it's completely changed the page unrecognizably because a lot of it's built into the old framework. So we need to try and avoid that from taking the site down. So we're just going to switch it back, just check it's working okay. Yes, it's come back to normal. Great. So going into the Helix framework, we just click on here. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. We click on here, the template. And there are a number of basic options you need to have a look at setting up first, starting from the top tab basics. How wide do you want the container of the site? 1140 pixels is usually about right. Do you want the header to be sticky? Have you got a favorite icon? So the fav icon is this little symbol here. So yes, you always need to get rid of the Joomla basic one and put this one up here. So I need a little image in there. Do you want a box layout or not? No, not in this example. What kind of logo do you want? We want an image, and it's going into module position, and I'll explain the module positions in a second. You can upload the image here. You can upload a retina image, so a really high resolution image for the logo, and then you can also put a lower res mobile version of the logo on here. And then if you think about the framework, we're still talking about the framework, the template. You can put background sizes and different things on here. This is the whole framework, the whole site. And then we also have a footer section. Again, we'll look at the module position in a second. Modules and positions are quite important. You need to get to know them very well, as well as SP Page Builder. And here is just some standard text, so copyright, whatever the current year is, and some text. Always in our sites, because we're a company, we always put designed by or developed and designed, whatever, there's lots of different variations, but then also create a link in here back to our website so it gives us credibility that we've built this. And then there's a whole bunch of easy ways of adding social media icons, and again they're going into module position, top one. And you can put all those links in here and it'll just create the icons and very, very, very quickly. There's a contact information section, so if you have usually in the footer, top or in the header on this one, it's called top 2. You can put it, it'll appear in there. You can just type some information in here. You can do a coming soon page if this is a brand new site. We wanted to put up a coming soon page, we could put that up. You choose yes and you'd select which page it was going to. And if we want an error page information, we can put that on here. So that's basic stuff. Then ideally we want some presets. So when we're talking about our styles and designs, we're best off having a look at some color presets, and we put in some background text, major colors, as in titles, drop down background color, drop down text, and play around with these depending on the site. And then this is the key bit. So this is a bit like SP Page Builder. in that this is the whole site's template layout. So across the top, we've got a row, we've got a top one and a top two. So we talked about those in the basics, remember? They'll go into these positions if you type some information in. So to build this template, we're going to need to know what the layout is going to be like. So I'm going to show you here. This is the header. Let's just break it down into small bits. Let's do the header and footer. The content area you'll build within SP Page Builder. So every single page will fit within inside here. So the only things you need to build in Helix is the things that are what I call static on each page, so the same across the whole site. We can change it and use different templates, but that gets a bit more complicated. But for this example, we're just going to have a blue bar, some social media icons, and a phone number across. And then we're going to have the logo, a menu, and then we need a space to put another button for a donate. And then we're going to have another space box for the scrolling banner. So let's have a look at this from the basics. I'll show you some of these, and then you'll be able to understand how to form the rest of it. So blue row across the top, blue background with some text and social media icons. So we've got a top bar, which is great. Let's go into some of the settings, and we want the background color, and we have some very specifics, but I'm just going to show you quickly. So we just put this blue on there. We can change text colors. So if you remember on ours, our text color is going to be white. We don't have an image to put on the background. We don't need to repeat it. It's going to be fixed. It's going to stay at the top when we scroll upwards. We don't have link colors, so I don't think anything needs to be done or changed on here at the moment. Okay, so we apply that. So we now know that that background is blue. We're going to have in this top one a number, a phone number, and we're going to have the social media icons in top two. Now, if you remember, let me just save this as we go along. In the basics, we had social medias, and this one is set to top one. So if we just go back to the layout, that would put it on the left-hand side here, whereas we want it into top two. So we're going to put here, change it to top two. Okay. If we just grab a couple of the social media links from here, so grab the URL, let's put it in the Facebook one. Oops, I don't think I grabbed that. Let's grab the Twitter one. And they've got a YouTube one as well. So grab that, and hopefully that's here. Okay, so we've got 3 in there. Oh, contact information here. It says that it's going into top 2, which we want to use for the social icons. So we're just going to disable that for now, because we don't want 2 things trying to fight over the same position. Okay, let's save that. Just close some of those. We've got the template open, the page, so we're just going to swap this over again. So save and close it. And I just want to see you to see how it's actually building up. So we're applying that, and we will refresh this. We've now got the blue bar that we created. We've got the social media icons and the links, and we can change the colors of these, which I'll let you do later on. I don't need to show you every single thing to build this. but we're missing this box across the top. So let's go back and turn this back to the normal template so that people don't get frustrated that the site's gone down. Okay, now let's go back into this template and let's change the contact, and we'll change that to top 1, and the number we needed, if you remember from this template, was this. Colon 0300 111 space 2030. I'm going to save and close that. What I also noticed was this was, let's see where it appears, because we'll need to do some styling around this later on. I'll leave you to do that. I'm just showing you how the framework works. So I've swapped it back again to the other framework, and now you can see we've got phone numbers in here. We can click it, it should dial. We've got the social media icons. Now, I'm going to leave this to you to style it because that's easy for you to work out from here. I'm just showing you the Helix framework, and you can see how it's all starting to pan out. So here we've got the logo and a menu bar, and so if we just switch this quickly back again, refresh just to make sure it's all going okay. Phew. Okay, we're back again. So we've got a logo here. So let's save this image. Just so I've got something to play with. And go back into the framework. We've got logo here. So we're going to select an image. Now in Joomla, you need to upload in the same way as you do for WordPress or any other content management system. To make things nice and neat and tidy, we're going to just give it a folder for this new template. Bridge -template 2022, which is when we're creating this. So I'm going to go and find that folder, and then I'm going to upload that image that I just grabbed. Okay, now we've got that, insert it into here, and that logo has gone on to this position. It's in logo position, so let's just double check our layout. It's going to go to the left there. Now this menu position, if we go, it's all done in this bit in menu. So it's which menu we're going to go into the menu position. Now because this is a live site, we're going to have to create a new main menu and then put new links in there. So we're going to have to save and close this. Go to menus, all menus, and we're going to create in the menus a new menu. And try not to call it the same thing, otherwise we're going to end up having a load of problems here. So let's call it new main menu. I think we're going to have to call it. I think it'll save that. Okay. And then what we'd have to do is put some pages into it. So here we're going to, I know there's some SP pages built. We know there's one called homepage, and I need to make that active, publish it. That's because someone else has got it checked out. Right, go back to menus, manage menus. We click on the numbers here. This one's our new one, new main menu. And we're going to create a new link. We're going to call it home. This is what's displayed on the actual menu. And we know it's just a SP page builder page. And then we can select the page, home page. And it's going to be the parent, the main, published, and the default page. Save and close. I'm going to have to call it something else at the moment. Home 1, just for this example. Okay, so we now have an item in the menu. Let's go back to our template. We know that our menu selected is called main menu, but we also now know that it's the new one, so it'll be the one below it. Only so that we can keep it easy to understand here. We can do a few fancy things off here. We can make it fade in, zoom up, elastic out, drop in, twist, slide down. Let's do a slide down animation because that should be a bit of fun. Right, let's save and close that. And then make it active again. Go and test the page. Okay, so now we know that we've got a very large logo in there and we've got a menu that goes to this home page which opens as default. So it's doing exactly what we need it to do. There's a few other options which you can work out to take off the off canvas menu and change that, get rid of the hamburger menu and things. So this image we'd have to resize, or actually we'd need to maybe make this menu bar a bit bigger. So again, it's still styling, and the same with this um, this SP page builder, this page that's the default on there. It needs some padding, margins to put things around it, but basically now when you add items to that menu, they'll come across here. Within the framework, the Helix framework, you can style these menu items. If we had a submenu on here, we chose the slide down, I think it is. So that would appear on there. We can choose the background color. So, and the same with all these. You can affect all of these by this framework. So let's quickly just go and have a look at changing this bottom bit as well. I'm just going to switch it back because it's a live site and just check it's done that. Oops. Okay, so it's a good job I came back and checked. So because we made it the default page, this has now become the default page of the whole site, which is not quite what we wanted. So we just need to go back to SP page builder. Oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the menus. Go to that menu. We need to take off that home default and change it back to the one it was before, which is in here, and is that one. So we need to just turn that one back. Let's just refresh the page again. Hooray, everything's come back again. So be careful with that. There's a little lesson to you whilst you're editing this one. Always check. Always check. Okay, so we've got that back. What I wanted to show you was the bottom of that template. In the basics, is this information here. So whatever's on the current site we'll just copy across. Now, if you want to do anything a bit more fancy, I'm just going to save this. We're going to have to go and look at modules, but I just want to show you how that will apply first. So because we've got a section here called footer, and we're told, oh, sorry, contact information needs to go in. Oh no, that's the wrong one, sorry. Yeah, there, it's in footer 1. So it'll fill the whole of that footer. And I'll just show you how that works, just so you can get a proper understanding of how this template is applying. See, it's changed all this bit at the bottom. So again, you can style this, change the background color, which we're going to need to do. And this is pulled up the default page in the middle instead of the SP page builder, because we saw about that problem a few seconds ago. Let's just put it back. Now, if you remember also, if we go to our layout, we've got a logo and a menu. But if you remember the design, it's a logo, menu, and a donate button. So we're actually going to need another column in here. We're going to need 3. Probably, I would actually stick to some kind of styling. So a 363 is probably better. And then we're going to need to put a button in here. So you're probably asking me, how do we do that? We've got to create something to go in there, because all it does is gives us a module position. So if we chose if we chose remember, we're going to try and find a position that we're not using for anything else. Let's put it as position 0. I don't believe anything else is using that. Oops, I forgot to apply that, sorry. Okay, so you can see it's labeled at position 0. And then we know that this row is a white background. We do know we've got a bit of a problem here with the height of the logo, which you'll have to sort out with some CSS to restyle it. So now we need to create a button that goes in there. And what we do with everything else is build modules to go into positions of things. Now, let's just save and close this. Modules in Joomla are like mini pages or mini sections. I think you call them widgets in WordPress. And so it's the same principle that you create something separately and then just tell it where to go. So it's under extensions, modules, and then we're going to need to create a new one. Now there's a whole bunch of things depending on what plugins you've got on the site as to what you can or cannot choose. So I'm just going to go for well, the most common one generally is the custom one, because that allows you to do whatever you want to. But if you're inserting a page in there from Page Builder, you'd use that. Generally, you wouldn't do that in Module unless you've got a specific reason. But you might want to put a form in there, for example. You might want to have a look at certain things from K2, which is the blog system. You might want to put in there, or some events coming up, or there's a whole bunch of things. There's a training course system on here. But what I'm looking for is the one that's going to give me the most flexibility is custom. And then this will look just like any article or any other section within uh, in Joomla. This is a Joomla a menu editor, WYSIWYG editor. So we're going to give this a title of Donate button. And then remember here we've got to give this positions. So we're looking for here we've got this Shaper Helix 3 framework. And you remember we found one we didn't think was being used called position 0, which I am having trouble seeing. I must have missed it. Interesting. Now I'm not sure about this. We're going to have to try this. I think the problem is if we use one of these, it's going to apply to the other template areas. So we might have to go back and just change this. So we really want to look underneath the one that says the Helix framework, because it's got its own named positions. Let's go for position 1. In here, we're just going to create some basic text for now. Again, you can or will need to style it. We can obviously create a link. We can give it a fill. But I'm just going to leave it like that for now, actually. In Joomla also you can assign things to only show on certain menus. So here on the menu assignment, it will show on all pages. You can just choose on only on all pages except those selected. You can unselect the ones you don't want, or the opposite way around, only on pages that you do select. And you can choose which pages you do want it to appear on. We're just going to put it on all pages for this one. Let's save and close. Oh, I've forgotten what the I think it was position 1, wasn't it? So we need to go back and edit the template. Strange, it's showing here, but it's not showing. Oh, there it is, position 1. Apply that. I'm just going to scan down the template to make sure nothing else is using position 1. Got footers, and footer sections. Okay, good. So save and close that. And apply that template. Do a quick refresh. And for some reason it's not showing on there. Okay, I think I've seen what the problem is here. We've got position 1, and then on the template we've got position -1, so we just need to change this module so that it's showing the right one. So it's position -1 now. Save and close. I'm just going to go back and check the template as well. Obviously, you hopefully be a bit more diligent than I am about checking what's going where. So we've got position -1. Okay, that's fine. So let's just refresh the template. Yeah, here we go. So now we've got our donate text button. This has added a title in there, so we just need to change that module so it's not showing the title. But you can see how you can apply modules into positions within the template. If we wanted to put this in several places, so if we look at the template and wanted to put it in here as well, we could also change that to position 1 also, and it would also appear in multiple places, so you can use the same thing to be placed in multiple places from one module to multiple parts of the screen if you want to. And there's a lot more fancy things you can do about not showing on which menus. So if you're on another page, you just don't display certain things, or you do display things. So you have a lot of power if you think about the mechanics of how you can then pull all this together. Okay, so I've used that position -1, and what it's done is on the existing template, it's put the same thing on this one here. So I did a quick Google research, and it shows us how we can create new positions, which is fantastic. So there's some notes here for Joomla shapers, the people who do Helix, and we can go into templates, shaper Helix 2, and we can add a new one. So let's just do that. So we're in the Plesk server, and there's a file here called templatedetails.xml, and here it's listing all of the positions. So we do have a position 1, which is quite interesting. So we basically just need to copy the line and create a new one. I think for this one we'll just call it header right. Save and close that. Now hopefully if we go back to the Helix framework, we want to change this. We should, hopefully, according to the instructions online, see a header right, which I'm not doing. Okay, so I did pause the video a little bit there because I was a bit confused why it wasn't showing in the list. I found out there's maybe you call it a bug, but basically if you put a hyphen in, it doesn't work in the Helix framework and SP Page Builder. So don't put a hyphen in it, just call it, I've just called it header right. And if we apply that and save and close, you see it's showing here at the moment. So now we've turned it off to be in a different position. It's not showing on this page. If we now go and apply this template, refresh it, we are showing it still in the right position and it's not on the other one. So as we're doing a dual build here, it's a bit more complicated, but just to be a bit more aware of the positions and what you need to do. But now I've also shown you how to change the positions to change the template XML file in the templates folder for Shaper Helix 2, and then just add it to the end, and you can add any named positions you want to. There is quite a few on there. It doesn't matter what they're called, or as long as they're not being used by anything else between SP Page Builder and the Helix framework. So hopefully by now you can start to see how you can build the rest of the pages. You might need to change the footer into different modules. We've got to put, if we look at the design here, So on the header, we've got this basically here. You've got a layout better, you've got a donate button, you've got to make that into a button. We've got the menu starting to be built here. The logo needs to be made smaller. We need to also put in a row in the Helix framework for the slider. So I think there's actually a position called slider, and then we can have a module or a plugin that we can allocate to that position. It will go there. This design is just showing you about they want the grey backgrounds and the drop-down lists with the white writings for these different bits. And then we come to the rest of the page here. So this will be an SP page builder from this section onwards. So this image here, this is the home page. This text, all these boxes are all done in SP page builder on the home page. Same with that picture, some more boxes and text and photos. And then this will be a I would probably build this in a module because we want to apply this to um, nearly every page on the website. So I would just change this to create a module and then allocate this to a position near the footer. Obviously, you'll need a row in the Helix framework for this, and also these logos. You'll need another module for this, and then you've got one which you need to create for the footer, which is one I've started playing around with, but obviously they've missed off the design by develop and promote bit in there. Again, the easiest way we find to do these is to create these with modules and just allocate them to that position, because you have a lot more control over a module than you do in anything else. I'm just, before someone complains about this site, just going to switch it back, make sure it's all working okay. Good, it's all back to normal. So yeah, if you go into these modules, you'll see that the current site is even built with them. Some of these are deactivated, so we've got home stats, that's going into sidebar 1. We've got KT tools into position 1, so that's, let's go have a look at that. Oh, someone's checked that one out. When you choose the modules, it shows different things here. So in here, it's showing a category box, what filter to apply to it. So on the home page, KT is like a blog thing. It will be basically filling this section. So it'll be pulling these automatically from the blogs, and it gives you loads more options to be able to how you display and what you display and how many of them you display for this particular one. And that's all done with the type of module you choose. So let me just cover this because this is really powerful part of Joomla. When you create a module, you choose the type of module, and the type of module you choose will have different options in it. So this creative image slider will have sliding how many animations you want, how many times you want the picture to slide. This will do something to do with Facebook. This is another slider. Um, these are standard articles, which generally we don't use now. We use the SP page builder. The K2 is a plugin, which is a blogging function, and there's lots of powerful options in there. Menus, random stuff. The SP page builder you use the most. CK slideshow we also happen to use a few times. Virtumart is our e-commerce plugin. So if you need to do a site with anything to do with that, you would choose that, and it would have a whole bunch of different things to display and set up. So I've shown you the one for SP Page Builder. Well, actually, I'll just show you it again. So on here, you just choose. Oops, it seems to have missed choosing something. New. SP Page Builder. DH test. Save that. And then we can put pages in here if we want to, but it's better to build the pages and then just link them from the menus, but you can put a section in if you need to. So you see this is completely different set of options here, even though it's a module. So let me just delete that. And I'm going to create another one. Let's say we've seen the custom one. I showed you how to do the custom one. Let's use K2 just as an example. So we're going to display some content. And here we want to, again, the positions are all here. So we've covered that already. How many users, how many items, what category do you want to put in it? This one's got a category of blogs. So only things from the blogs section in K2 will display on here, and then you can choose a whole bunch of other things of how you display it, what's shown with it, a title, an avatar, an image, video, blah blah blah, whole bunch of things, and they all come from what's available in the component called K2. I won't go into that here because there's quite a lot to do. We've got the main things here: Virtuemart, SP Page Builder, K2, and a couple of the sliders depending on which ones we use on it. If the newsletter system is Acumailer, if we want people to, there's a module available in there, so we could get people to subscribe to lists if we wanted to. So I'll just show you that one quickly. Acumailer module, display lists, or what drop downs, what options, so they can just sign themselves up what the subscribe button is going to be called, how it loads with Ajax or previous pages. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do from here. So hopefully, sorry, this is a bit of a long video, but hopefully that covers the Helix framework, how to build up the header footer and allocate a menu into it. And then also you know how to do the SP page builder from the videos. Excuse me. And then you also now know how to go and create modules that you'll then allocate into positions within either pages on SP Page Builder, or you'll do that within the framework of the Helix framework for the template. Once you've gathered that, you can start learning how to style it all, and there are probably a couple of advanced things that I just need to maybe show you in SP Page Builder that maybe weren't covered in the videos. So I'll just show you on the home page, for example. If you aren't able to style or lay out things quite as you want to here, you can also put your custom CSS into here, which will apply to this page. And this, I think there's somewhere in the whole framework here as well. Yeah, custom code here. So you've got some headers, footers, custom code. So for example, if we need to put, well, every site we build with Google Analytics, so we'll put the Google Analytics code on there. So you'll see the current site will have that, which we need to apply. Here we've got the script for Google's tag. So that all needs to be copied and pasted into the existing site as asynchronous. So that we need to be careful about the differences in here as well. So what you do is just take that script, and in the head for this particular one, and you can put custom JavaScripts and custom CSS, and there's a few other advanced options about making the site run quicker with less CSS, which you've probably heard of, or JavaScripts and so on. But they're the key things. Also remember when you're building, look at, oh, you've got the fonts here as well, the heading fonts, and so to keep consistency across the site, we want to have a particular font, a particular weight, a particular style and size, and they need to be different for H1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and so on, and body fonts, so that there's a standardization across the site. And also if we need to change it for the client, we can quickly do it in this bit here on the Helix framework and apply it to everything very, very quickly. The menu you have to play around with and get used to, but I think we've covered quite a lot today, so that should be able to get you started with building the framework and the pages and testing it, and build majority of the site. Any problems, obviously, just ask.